Well, hey everyone, welcome back to the Island Church Weekly Podcast. I'm Matt Lombardi, joined as always by Pastor Will. Pastor Will, how you doing on this cold Florida morning?
Oh, it's a little chilly here, but still it's less chilly here than it is in other places of the country.
Yeah, absolutely. We have first world problems down here, living in Florida with the winter. So, thanks so much for joining me. Why don't you help people understand kind of what God was up to this past week at the church?
Good. Well, we had our School of Christian Living at 8:45. I designed a model some years back called Love Your Neighbor, Share Christ. It's really the model to help churches put together their model on how they're going to reach people. And so this past Sunday, I just went over kind of two of those elements. One of those is servant evangelism. How do we do acts of kindness and be intentional in our evangelism, because really those two things marry together. So particularly think about this Christmas season, we think about others more than we do other times. There's ways that we can just connect with people, and whether it's a neighbor or whether it's a friend, whether it's a stranger, whether
Yeah,
it's in a group or your family just does it. We want to do acts of kindness, and then we want to be prepared to share the gospel and share our testimony of how we came to Christ. So talked a little bit about this past Sunday. That was good, dear School of Christian Living. And then our worship service was a good time as well. We looked at some of the Christmas stories, and we did some of the responses around Jesus. And one of the things that we dealt with particularly is just this idea of fear not. So if you missed this past Sunday, go back, take a look at our
yeah,
YouTube channel. There's this channel,
yep,
and look at the sermon. And there's so many things that drive fear, and often our passions and our fear drive us. And so we want to try to eliminate the fear, walk in fear of the Lord, but not fear of man and fear of other things. And so maybe there's just uncertainty and troubles, but we're all going to face them. It's just how we do it.
yep,
And so when the
absolutely.
angels came to the shepherds and Mary and Joseph and others there, they said, "Fear not." And because Christ is here, we can have less fear. So that's what we did this past Sunday. Good day.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Well, everyone's probably aware of what's coming up pretty soon. So, why don't we just touch briefly on some of the events coming up? Obviously, Christmas Eve service. Tell us a little bit more about that, why it's important maybe to invite a friend, and then give us a quick rundown of what the schedule is like in the kind of end of the year, because I know everyone's going to have questions about that.
Right. Well, it is. It's Christmas Eve this year. Sunday's the 24th. And hopefully the men have figured it out. They bought their gifts. The Christmas is not a month or two away, guys. You can get those presents
Yep.
purchased. But anyway, that's this coming Sunday. We're going to have our normal 10 o'clock service. We won't have School of Christian Living at 8:45. So that's been on pause. That'll be on pause the next 2 weeks. And so just the 10 o'clock service, but we have that. And then we'll have a completely different service at 5 o'clock, our candlelight service, which is just a hit every year. Sandy and I've been here. I think this will be our fourth one. And that's just well attended and well received. And there's just people, you said invite a family member, a friend, or somebody in town. If somebody comes in town to visit, we just bring them with you. 10 o'clock
Yeah.
service, come back at 5 o'clock. Some of our people will be out, but some of the people, you'll have guests here. So bring them with you. It's just a good time for people to think about eternity, think about Christ, think about their life in Christ. And it's just a good time to do that, because people are more sensitive this time than they might be, and open this time of year than other times. So it'll be a great time. The 5 o'clock service will go 40 minutes. Sandy actually said the other day, told at the end of the service, she said it's going to be a 38 to 42-minute service about that. No, it's not about. It's going to be about
It's
straight up
going to be
40
about
minutes. It's not really a very long service.
that's good.
And we'll sing a couple songs. We'll have a short message. We'll do some things that will just be meaningful to the people. So that's coming up this week. And then New Year's, just same schedule just a 10 o'clock service, no 8:45 School of Christian Living. So that's what's going
Awesome.
on in the coming weeks.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Well, December is a month where all of us are thinking about generosity, right? Buying gifts for those in our family, our friends. We're thinking through, really the spirit of Christmas and God's generosity towards us in Christ. And so it's a time of year where even as a church, like it's a time we're asking people to consider generosity more and more. So do you maybe just share with some of the people watching, what are some ways that if they're considering generosity towards Island Church this year, what are some of the ways that they can be generous to the church, to Christ's body, and be a blessing going into 2024?
Well, let me but first just mention a couple of items that people, and then I'll come back to more specifically on the finances in terms of what they can do. But We're in the process. We're going to purchase a several $1,000 interactive television. We want to make sure we're connecting with young people in different types of ways. We use a QR code. We have a website. We tweet. We're not doing much tweet on Twitter, but we're doing texting, and we're doing other kinds of things to connect with people. And so we're going to move to about a several $1,000 interactive TV. The women will be able to use it in their study. The men will be able to use it, and then it'll be on the stage. And so maybe somebody just wants to give that particular type of gift. That's a gift that they can consider giving. And then maybe each person will just take in consideration of how their giving has been in 2023. One of the things I do at the end of each year is to check and make sure that I've not missed in my giving, or if I have, I go back and make it up, right? And so if you'd like a particular statement, we're going to send out end of the year statements like toward the end of end of January. But if you'd like to know what your giving has been like for this 2023, then just call the office, talk with Stacy, and she'll be happy to pull a report and send that to you. So there's several different ways you can give. I mean, obviously you can give online. That's the way you can do that. You can give, come and send a check. You can do that. Just needs to be postmarked by the December 31st. And then, the stock market's finally is coming back around. So let me say this again to everyone. The church has a account with Edward Jones. And we have a way, if you have IRA funds, we have some members who direct their IRA funds from that account directly into the Edward Jones account. And they can do that. You can do that with cash too, but typically it happens with stocks transfer and or some type of stock sale. The interesting thing about the stocks, you can actually give the value you can get the value of the stock and never take it as income and pay and get a deduction or pay taxes on it. Yeah. Just transfer it over to Edward Jones. So there may be a tax benefit there through that particular way. So if you have questions about that, I'd be happy to help you, or Stacy would, to get you connected. Okay. Several of our church members will do it that way. Maybe some have made a commitment towards Bridge the Future. We're about to have drawings for potential building. The architect is getting those wound down. Hopefully by the first of the year, he tells me he thinks he's going to have the initial drawings on that. So that's good. We're still moving forward because it's a part of our mission. And then, Tom Crick is coming. Tom and Jane, let me say a couple of things here just as a side note. Just pray for them. They come back in January. They'll be here for over a month this time at one time. And then they'll be back mainly between January and March. They'll be here a lot of that time. And so they're looking to purchase a used car or have some type of transportation. So if you know about one of those, let us know. Or somebody has an extra car sitting around, that'll be fine too as well. We have a great couple of situations that can host them in terms of while they're here. So we're not in desperate need, but if someone has a home and say, hey, I'd like to host them for several days or for a week or something during their time, we'll certainly be open to that as well. So we're looking forward to them coming back the first of the year. So you can give to the stocks financially. You can give through a gift of it like this interactive television. I think it'll be a good tool for us to teach from as our church engages in all different types of community events and training within the community. So that's a way. And then if you want to check your records, contact Stacy. So a lot of different ways.
Yeah, lots of ways to be generous. Well, thank you so much, Pastor Will, for sharing all those ways with us. So excited for Christmas Eve and everything the Christmas holiday has in store for us. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you are watching, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, like this video or any of the other ones you see, and stay up to date with us at islandchurchtv.com. So, Pastor Will, have a wonderful, very Merry Christmas.